Has anyone else noticed a pattern from normies? Their flip-flopping or their vacillation when it comes to the short man question? On one hand, they'll tell us that short men aren't physically capable of protecting women and children, we're physically weak, and that we're not entitled to a woman, we're not entitled to a girlfriend or to a wife. Women want to feel protected, and that's why they select tall men. But then when the short guy like myself concedes with that and just accepts it and respects women and, respects tall men being the archetypical protector, provider, leader, we're still shamed for it. I'll see comments online, even in real life I've had these conversations, but online in particular. And, you'll see comments from tall men, women, shaming, denigrating short men, just straight out dehumanizing them. And then if I was to say something like, yeah, look, you're right, short men can't protect women and children, we're too weak, then they'll immediately vacillate. They'll go from inferiorizing us or denigrating us to then flattering us. No, just because you're short doesn't mean you're weak, bro. It's but you were literally just saying it the whole time. Especially if I say, it's a tall man's duty to protect women and children, because that's what women want. That's what society wants. That's what they uphold. And I respect that. It's the natural order. And then again, the same women and tall men, they'll be like, short height doesn't always correlate with strength, Again, you can still be a good protector. Yada yada. It's exhausting explaining it. But yeah, I just want to know if anyone else has noticed that pattern. Any other fellow cognizant manlets. We can't win either way. If we try and prove ourselves that we'd make, we're suitable candidates and that we're strong just like tall men and we can physically protect, we're physically capable of protecting women and children, yada yada. We're accused of having a Napoleon complex or little man syndrome, being insecure. And then, on the flip side, if we accept the reality, if we concede with all that, pretty much give up our Napoleon complexes and little man syndrome. And what is Napoleon complex and little man syndrome? And that's trying to prove yourself to be the man that you're not. Trying to overdo it, to overcompensate for your shortcomings, for the traits that you weren't genetically gifted with. And now that I no longer do that, I'm still accused of, and not just me, even other short guys as well who have just conceded and they accept the natural order, biological reality, they respect women's decisions. We're still accused of that, of Napoleon complex. Sorry, let me just take a sip of coffee. We're still accused of that Napoleon complex, little man syndrome, being insecure. I just don't get it. What do these normies want? If we respect women and their decisions, and society's, upholding of the, tall man, protector, provider, leader archetype, we're still, accused of having some type of complex or being insecure, or they'll even go as far as saying that we're mentally ill and we need help. It's well, what do you want us to do? We've taken your advice. We play the cards we're dealt with. That's what we're always told. We respect women's decisions to select tall men. We don't try and prove ourselves as, the physically capable protectors that we really aren't. So yeah, that's just my little analysis that I've picked up. I don't want to ramble on too much, but let me know what you guys think. Why they do that, why do normies flip-flop? Why do they vacillate? They say A, and then they say B immediately. Like, I've had conversations with people online and even in real life, and they'll go from mocking shortmen, straight out dehumanizing shortmen, saying disgusting things. That we're weak, we're runts, women, how can a short guy protect a woman with his itty-bitty hands? I've heard that. I've been told that. And those same people, within that same time frame of saying those dehumanizing things, if there's a short guy like myself who just concedes and goes along with it, yeah, you're right, yeah, that's what, I'm just giving you an example of what I responded. And I once said to the guy, you're right, as a short guy, I've conceded I don't have what it takes to protect women, and sometimes even children. And I think it's something that many short men just need to face and accept as reality for their own good. Short men who try and act all protective and strong and chivalrous, it's just blatant Napoleon complex. That was my response. And you know what they said? That's not true, bro. Just because you're short doesn't mean you're not capable of protecting women and children. Doesn't height and strength aren't correlated. Well, which one is it? You just said the complete opposite before. And you just were lecturing shortmen to get over themselves and accept reality. And then when we do, it's still not good enough. Anyway, yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Why do normies do that? Even women, the very same women who will finger wag and lecture short men that we're not entitled, which is true. No one's entitled to anything in life. I've accepted that. And, I respect women. I want them to be safe. I think they should have the right to select torment. So, yeah, let me know why you think they do that. I'd like to hear other cognizant manlets' takes. Even sometimes the tall men as well. Or even just other men who aren't short. They'll go from denigrating us to then trying to hype us up. The denigrate. It's called the denigration flattery complex. A lot of yous who are familiar with me on Twitter would have seen me mention that a few times. It's something I've coined. Alright guys, all the best. Manlet out.